The Arizona Wildcats, this is a team, D1 has them kind of in the 22, 23 range. They're 22. Some good talent, some really good talent coming in.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's what I know about Arizona. They're going to hit the baseball. Top to bottom, from Kobe Cato to Dante Williams to Ryan Holgate. I mean, literally just pick a name. It's a lineup that's going to hammer Pac-12 pitching all season long, and they're going to look to start off the season doing it that way when they get to Frisco. But that pair of super freshmen that you mentioned, we've got Daniel Susak behind the plate. You got Jacob Berry. I mean, those are two guys that are going to start from day one. They're going to look to be impactful pieces of that batting order from day one. And if all goes according to plan, Arizona's a team that, like I said, they're going to put up a lot of runs every night. And the question for the Wildcats is going to be, what does that pitching look like?
Absolutely. They got the bats. For me, it's if they can move up, if they can make a real run, it is, like you said, if they can put things together on the mound. Dante Williams, great infield player, great defensive player. What besides the pitching, do they need to put together to really kind of level up in college baseball?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned the defense. They're really good defensively as well. Dante Williams, a guy that can roam as well as anybody. He's got above average speed. Again, Kobe Cato's a good defensive player. And the deal with their pitching staff is that we don't have a lot of guys that I expected to be striking out the side very often. So there are going to be a lot of balls put in play. And for Arizona to live their best life, so to speak, in 2021, they need to be able to play great defense behind their pitching. Their pitching needs to feel comfortable throwing at bats and letting them put balls in play. So, lefty Garrett Irvin had a nice little run there in 2020. It's so hard to read into 2020 performances because it was so brief. But, Garrett flashed a lot of upside last year. Chandler Murphy looks solid as well. They have a fifth-year senior in Vince Vannell. He's in the mix as well. But for Arizona, I guess the answer to your question in two parts. A, is the defense, but B, is there an impact newcomer pitching-wise that can come in and make an impact? And I think, JUCO transfer Chase Silseth may be that guy. I mean, not just a guy that can contribute, but a guy that may end up at the top of their rotation by season's end. And hell, if that's the case, then Arizona's a team that can win the Pac-12. They're a team that could be hosting regionals. They're a team that could, at the end of the year, find their way to Omaha. All of that is right out there in front of them. They have the arms to get there. They're just going to have a couple of these guys really step forward and emerge as, a quality Friday, Saturday duo.
Yeah, you mentioned 2020. It's, between high-level recruits coming into a bunch of programs, the weird draft with a bunch of guys staying back at school, and just a small, sometimes a tiny sample size from last year. I feel like 2021 is not going to be as easy to predict as some of these preseason rankings and stuff. There could be a lot of teams that kind of weasel their way in there to making real runs.
Yeah, no question. There's two ways to look at it, right? Like, is it A, going to be the most unpredictable season ever, or B, do you just look at 2020 as like a little preview of what to expect? And it's going to be very unpredictable because nobody knows which one of those two things is the way it's going to go. When you look at the preseason rankings, it's very much being influenced by what we saw over the course of a month last year. Players that played well, that stayed back, you expect them to do the same, despite the fact that you're looking at hitters that whatever they did, it was over the course of 45, 50 at-bats. You're looking at pitchers that whatever they did, it was over the course of 4 starts. So not to take anything away from them, but college baseball is a 50-some-odd game season. And then you get to the postseason. It's a grind. And so a lot of these guys, great that they flashed, but they're going to have to sustain that over an extended period of time this season. And all of it starts with getting off on the right foot in February at one of these key preseason tournaments, many of which can be found on FloBaseball.
Right here on FloBaseball, Dante Williams is an outfielder, not an infielder.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't want to
correction.
I was trying to find a nice way to say he played the outfield without embarrassing you. That's why I chose the soft term roaming. Dante roams.
That, yeah.
And I just thought maybe that will imply that he plays in the outfield without putting you on Front Street. But Dante, if you're listening, I knew all along that you play in the outfield.
Tough to embarrass. Love being wrong, but was wrong about that.
It's all right.
There we go.
You're still batting like 900.
Thank you. Not bad.